Hi, my name is Nancy Gahan, and we're in Historic Pullman on the south side of Chicago. It's the place where I lived for decades, where I raised my 3 children, and the neighborhood that I love. Every Saturday morning, I volunteer at our visitor center, which is run by the nonprofit Historic Pullman Foundation. It's a great way to spend a Saturday morning and a good chance to meet the hundreds of tourists that descend on our neighborhood every year. Historic Pullman Visitor Center. The HPF stands for the Historic Pullman Foundation, and they used to own the Hotel Florence. The Hotel Florence is the crowning jewel of Pullman. It was built in 1881, and it was named in honor of George M. Pullman's daughter, Florence. My favorite memory of the hotel was when we used to put on the murder mystery dinners. At that time, the Historic Pullman Foundation owned the Hotel Florence, which was outfitted with a small restaurant. They had quarterly Victorian dinners to help them raise money to maintain the hotel. However, the summer dinner was not always sold out. That's when we came up with the idea for something creative, a murder mystery dinner. My friend Marilyn Key Ross and I, several years ago, went to a murder mystery dinner, and we had a really great time. And it dawned on us, that would be a great way to raise money for the hotel. So a few of us got together. My main collaborator was Marilyn Key Ross and her son Nino. And the 3 of us sat down and we thought, geez, where do we start? And we thought, well, we got to get a script. Then it dawned on us that we were all amateurs. I mean, we were always very aware of that fact. Ham bones maybe, but definitely amateurs. First on the agenda, the script. We wanted to have something comical, timely, and entertaining. We knew that we couldn't memorize lines. That meant that we had to improvise, but we still wanted to outline the plot that people could recognize. One year we did a spoof on the Olympic feud between Nancy Kerrigan and Tonya Harding. Another year we did a spoof on Tony and Tina's wedding and even added a funeral to it with a real casket donated by a local funeral parlor. And then another year we did a take on the musical Evita. Now, as far as casting went, there were several people that we were close to that were devoted to the hotel. They volunteered all the time. So we thought, well, they're outgoing enough, basically ham bones. So we asked them to join us. First pick was Tom McMahon, who played our local detective, cop, and donut aficionado. I'll never forget the incomparable George Ryan. My own daughter, Tricia, played an even rougher and tougher version of Tonya Harding. And then we had Clarice Lamphere, and she could play anything from a bimbo to a bride. No one could beat the range and talent of Mr. John Nickerson. He played everything from a bumbling detective to an Italian nonna. The fact that Chris Thompson never won an Oscar for his performance was a sheer travesty.
For 1 minute, I am sitting down to a meal with that pork-pound snake. You are very sadly mistaken.
And Lou Bertoletti, he was in a class of his own. Nino Key Ross was good playing a nerdy bodyguard or my sleazy son in Tony and Tina's wedding. Ben Kokolowski could play a cad, a bandito, and even a sleazy boyfriend without even breaking a sweat. We even had a real-life priest, the good-natured Father Bill Stenzel, who actually played a priest once. Other terrific players were the always delightful Cindy McMahon, Judith Kabita with her sultry voice, the hilarious Colleen Lyra, the demure Marge Ryan, the laugh-a-minute Tony Molsky.
I thought you were paid to be the singer here.
Someday he'll come along.
wacky Debbie Bertoletti, the singing sensation Lisa Marizzi, and her cute as a button accompanist Sheila Bertoletti. Of course, for every single one of them, I had to be the star. I mean, that was a given. And I had a cousin that was an excellent seamstress, and she used to make these outlandish costumes. Yeah, the first murder mystery, I played a character. It was a combination of Luella Parsons and Hedda Hopper. This is real imaginative. I was Luella Hopper, and a typical gossip columnist, and I got murdered in the first one. That was really hilarious. Keep in mind, this is the first one before we got into elaborate costumes. So I wore a suit, and then I had a black hat that I sewed a veil onto. So then when I died in a chair in front of the fireplace at the hotel, and they took the veil and they put it over my face, which I thought was a great touch. And I remember for Tonya and Tina's wedding, I wore this god-awful purple dress and this atrocious hat. And I left the price tag on the hat. And everyone, especially the women, they thought it was a real scream. It was great. And the year we did Evita, it was the only time I ever rented any type of costume, and that was the fruit hat that Carmen Miranda used to wear. And that was an absolute scream. It was very heavy, by the way. One year I did a takeoff on Ethel Merman, and my character's name was Ethel Rodham Bourbon. And I actually made an entrance that night. I came down the stairs and we had Ethel singing Everything's Coming Up Roses. And not to brag, but everyone just thought it was hilarious. And I had this red long dress on, and my cousin made me a coat, a black coat with these little stars all over it. Like I had to tell people I was a star, right? For every performance, I always brought a little class, a little sass, and a little ass. You know, we never had to worry about the food. The meals were always delicious at these dinners, and we had beautiful table decorations. It was just wonderful, and that was thanks to the restaurant manager, Billy Shigoris. She was just fabulous. Another behind-the-scenes person was our tour guide, Bill Kirshner, because several of the people that would come to the dinners had never been to the hotel. So he would just give these magnificent tours. You know, it's funny thinking back how many people we brought to Pullman. I mean, it's not real easy to get people to come to the south side of Chicago. And I was always really, really proud of that. You know, looking back, it's just, I know it sounds nostalgic and everything, but the place was so alive at that time. I know it sounds corny, but just to see people participating like that and laughing, it was just a sight to behold.
Let's go.